before the world was woven together by fiber optics and satellites, before messages could cross continents in the blink of an eye, humanity was a scattered collection of isolated communities. Communication was a struggle against distance and time. A message sent was a gamble, a whisper cast into the vast wilderness, hoping it would find its way. The world as we know it, with its bustling trade, sprawling empires, and shared knowledge, simply could not exist. To build something larger than a single village, to govern territory that stretched beyond the horizon, humanity needed to conquer distance. This is the story of how we first did it. It's the story of the veins of empire, the revolutionary networks that carried commands, intelligence, and commerce across the ancient world. This is how the first postal systems built our world. Imagine a world where the fastest a message could travel was the speed of a running man or a galloping horse. This was the reality for millennia. Early rulers, from the pharaohs of Egypt to the kings of Mesopotamia, relied on individual messengers. These were men of incredible endurance and loyalty, tasked with carrying clay tablets or papyrus scrolls across treacherous terrain. But this system was fragile. A single messenger could be delayed by weather, intercepted by bandits, or simply lose their way. For an empire to truly function, to react to threats and manage its resources effectively, something more was needed. A system. A network. The first true leap forward in this quest for connection came from the heart of a rising superpower, an empire that would soon stretch from the Indus Valley to the shores of Greece. In the 5th century BC, the Achaemenid Persian Empire was the largest the world had ever seen. Its ruler, Darius the Great, faced a monumental challenge: how to control a vast and diverse territory. His solution was ingenious, and would become the blueprint for all future imperial communication. He established the Royal Road, a marvel of ancient engineering. This wasn't just a road, it was a lifeline, stretching over 1,600 miles from Susa in Persia to Sardis in Anatolia. It was the backbone of a sophisticated postal system. Along this route, staging posts were built at regular intervals, each manned with fresh riders and swift horses, ready to take over the mail pouch. Herodotus, the Greek historian, described it with awe. Neither snow, nor rain, nor heat, nor gloom of night stays these couriers from the swift completion of their appointed rounds. A message that would have taken a normal travel of 3 months to deliver could now cross the empire in just 7 to 9 days. This was a revolution. The Royal Road allowed Darius to project his power, gather intelligence, and administer justice with unprecedented speed, knitting his sprawling empire together with threads of information. Centuries later, another empire, even more ambitious and organized, would perfect this model. The Romans. As their legions conquered territory from Britain to the Middle East, they built not just forts and cities, but roads. An astonishing 50,000 miles of paved roads that became the arteries of their empire. And running along these arteries was the Cusis Publicus. The state postal service, established by the first emperor Augustus. It was a system built for speed, efficiency, and above all, control. Unlike the Persian system, which was primarily for the king, the cursus publicus served the entire state apparatus. Governors, generals, and administrators were issued with a diploma, a special bronze pass that granted them access to the service. This allowed them to use the network of relay stations, or mutationes, to change horses and overnight mansionees, which were like statuine motels. This network was the nervous system of the Roman Empire. It carried military commands that could mobilize legions on a distant frontier, tax reports that fueled the state treasury, and judicial decrees that maintained Roman law across 3 continents. The speed was breathtaking for the ancient world. A crucial message could travel from Rome to its northernmost provinces in a matter of weeks, not months. This allowed Rome to react to rebellions, manage logistics, and maintain a level of centralized control that was simply unimaginable for earlier powers. The impact of these early postal systems went far beyond military commands and tax collection. They were catalysts for profound social and economic change. By creating reliable and relatively fast routes for communication, they also created corridors for trade. Merchants began to follow the paths of the couriers, knowing the roads were maintained and relatively safe. Goods, ideas, and culture started to flow along these networks with greater ease. A merchant in Rome could receive a letter about market prices for grain in Egypt or for silk arriving from the east, allowing for a more integrated and dynamic economy. This flow of information also helped in governance. Provincial administrators could send detailed reports back to the capital, giving the central government a much clearer picture of what was happening across their vast domains. This information was power. It allowed for better resource management, more effective tax policies, and a more responsive and stable government. In essence, these postal systems were the infrastructure that allowed complex societies to emerge and thrive on an imperial scale. They transformed isolated regions into interconnected provinces, laying the groundwork for a more globalized world. The great empires of Persia and Rome eventually fell, but the legacy of their postal systems endured. The concept of a state-sponsored relay network for rapid communication was too powerful to be forgotten. Throughout the Middle Ages, caliphates in the Islamic world, like the Abbot, operated their own sophisticated barrage system, which was a direct descendant of the Persian and Roman models. In the vast Mongol Empire, Genghis Khan established the Yam, an incredibly efficient courier network that connected China to Europe. These systems all served the same fundamental purpose: to bind vast territories together, to enable governance, and to facilitate the flow of information that is the lifeblood of any large-scale human endeavor. Today, when we send an email or make a video call, we are participating in the modern evolution of this ancient quest. The technology has changed beyond recognition, but the fundamental human need for connection, for sharing information across vast distances, remains the same. The next time you track a package online, watching it move from one hub to the next, remember the ancient couriers of Persia and Rome, galloping through the night to hold their world together. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this journey into the past, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more stories about how our world was built.